Hey everybody, my name is Seth Smock and I'm the sales trainer here at ENS Security. And today we're going to talk about some brand new accessories that we just got in, including some of our PoE switches that are managed, a long distance unmanaged PoE switch, a PoE splitter, and our brand new Cat5 and Cat6 cable that are direct burial, and we have options for outdoor rated as well. Let's first talk about the managed switches that we're bringing in. We currently have them available in 16 and 24 channel, and we'll also be bringing them in an 8 channel PoE switch as well. They are rack mountable, so you can put them in a server rack without any issues. They do have a high bandwidth of 1 GB, ultimately limiting bottlenecks in your network. And in regards to the uplink ports, looking at this PoE switch, they don't have a standard LAN port on there. They actually have SFP ports. You can use an SFP transceiver with an RJ45 interface. Most of the time this is used for 1G communication over shorter long distances, where this time you can actually use this transceiver, plug it in directly, and run that SFP port into the transceiver directly into a router or an NVR. Or you can also go ahead and use one of the extra PoE ports that you don't use to connect the PoE switch into the router as well. It's ultimately your choice on which one you want to do. Now the next port you're actually going to be seeing on this PoE switch is what we call a console port. This port is meant to connect directly into a computer whenever you're configuring the PoE switch into any settings that you want. Now you're probably wondering, why a managed PoE switch? Well, a managed PoE switch allows you to configure the network to your specifications, offer better monitoring and analytics of network traffic, and also provides remote control and adjustments by the network administrator, which gives you greater insight into the status of the network, the connected clients, and its power status. Traditionally, we've offered PoE switches that are unmanaged. Though these unmanaged PoE switches are simple and easier to set up, it doesn't allow you to configure your network specifications. Managed switches also allow you to increase the security of your network in the switches. For example, let's say you have multiple devices on a managed switch. Traditionally, an unmanaged switch will split up the bandwidth evenly through all the ports. For example, if you had 100 megabytes on 10 ports being used, they'd all get 10 megabytes each. Whereas on a managed switch, you can configure what ports are allocated more or less bandwidth depending on the importance of this device. For example, let's say it was really important to always make sure your surveillance system was up at all times, and that was taking up some of the PoE ports, but something that was less important in a different department in a large-scale commercial building, if that doesn't matter as much, you can actually limit the bandwidth down for that and keep your surveillance system up, or even certain cameras up at a higher level. Another example is within an unmanaged switch, you cannot control the settings or what gets plugged into it. For example, if a hacker decides to plug your laptop into one of the ports, he can scan for any issues within the network on unmanaged switches. With a managed switch, you can enable security settings and disable certain ports so no one can plug into the switch and scan for any issues within the network. You can also set up managed switches to better monitor network traffic. So there's a bunch of advantages with using a managed switch versus an unmanaged one. Now let's talk about our new unmanaged long distance PoE switch we have available. The first thing I want to mention on this one is it's your standard 16 ports of PoE on it, and it does have 2 standard LAN ports for uplink to connect into a router or so on. So unlike the managed one, this one has your LAN ports directly on here, but it also does come with an SFP port as well that you can use for any type of fiber, or even using another transceiver LAN port if you want. It's up to you. This is also rack mountable, so you can mount this onto a server rack without any types of issues. And also on AI extended modes, one of the modes that you can set up on this PoE switch, you can have port 1 through 8 support 250 meters of long distance power supply. And on port 9 through 16, it can support up to 500 meters of long distance transmission with speeds of up to 100 megabytes per second. But it also must be used with a PoE splitter, such as a brand new one we just brought in. So basically, in your home office or whatever your main system might be, you can have this PoE switch in that location, and then 100 meters away, you can actually use one of these PoE splitters. And then after that, another 100 meters away, you can use the same PoE splitter again, all the way extending up to 500 meters, ultimately allowing you up to 1,500 feet of transmission distance. Now let's talk about some of these dip switches on the back of the managed switch and the unmanaged switch. The first one's going to be AI Extend, which allows port 1 through 8 to support 250 meters of long distance power supply. We also have AI VLAN, which isolates all ports from one another, restraining network storms effectively and improving network performance. AI QoS, which customizes applications, prioritizations, and increased network sensitivity. For example, video priority monitoring transmission more smoothly. And AI PoE, which can detect power delivery device and reboot it automatically when it is to crash. So it gives you a little protection there. Now let's talk about our brand new cables we just brought in, and it's something I'm actually very excited to be bringing you guys because this is something that has been requested from time and time again, okay? This is our brand new outdoor rated cable. We do have it available in Cat5 or Cat6 and can be used in situations where you need a cable or the only option is for a cable to be exposed outside directly in the sunlight. With outdoor rated cables, they're constructed with UV protection to maintain cable integrity and prevent any issues down the line from the direct sunlight and so on. Most indoor cables do not have that UV protection and is not recommended. Whereas this outdoor cable, now you do have a solution for that. These outdoor rated cables, like I said, are designed to be outdoors, but they are not recommended for direct burial unless a conduit is used. Now we do have a solution for that, which we'll talk about in a couple seconds here. Now I just mentioned a little solution that we have, and that is with our direct burial cable. It's our brand new cable type that we're offering, and this cable can come in Cat5 or Cat6, yet again, up to you. And this cable is meant to be directly buried into the ground without having to use conduit or piping or anything to raise the cost of your installation. You can just use this cable here. Now what makes this cable direct burial is the outer jacket is a little thicker and protects the cable more, but also there is a gel stick that goes throughout the entire cable that prevents any moisture from getting inside. So you don't have to worry about moisture in the ground or water or bugs and dirt getting inside the actual cable. And this will be 100% okay for when you need to directly bury this into the ground. So this can save you a lot of time on installation for running additional pipes and save you cost on that conduit. Now to wrap this video up, we've brought in a ton of different accessories from our PoE switches to our splitters to our managed switches to our long distance switches to direct burial cable to outdoor rated cable. We have options available for more advanced installations. So if you want to take your installation game to another level by making your network more secure with a managed switch or getting higher quality cable if it's going to be exposed to the outdoors or even if you're going to bury it into the ground, we have an option for you now. So to get one of these picked up or to try it out, go ahead and give your ENS sales rep a call.